you're in there, you gotta come out. Is someone in here? Is anyone here? Come out. Seriously. Anyone in here? He's got to be around here somewhere.
Hiya. What are you doing in here? Come on, Mr. Miller, out. Right, that's it. Security's on its way, right now.
Steve, find Mr. Miller and tell him in no uncertain terms, we don't accept foul play in the Bowman-Carson group.
I'm not ready for our meeting yet, Mr. Miller. Can you come back later?
Hello.
Please enter PIN. Code accepted. Access granted.
Oh, I hope they bloody like this. This is like the 10th time I've done this one.
Please insert token. The number you have dialed is currently unavailable. Please try later. Please insert token. 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 Please insert token.
You're right.
Please insert token. Please insert token. Please.
Jeez, Mr. Miller, I'm just trying to do my job. And it doesn't help if you keep running around. I saw you before, in the out-of-bounds areas. It's not cool, man.
Harvey, I just received an anonymous fax. Do you know where the Turing meeting room is? It seems as though Alex Dubois may have hidden some information in there which proves the Bowman-Carson group are intentionally inflating figures based around the Union Act. If you're able to find the evidence, it may help inform the public about what the truth is here. I'm sure Carla Berman may have a thing or two to say about those figures, since she's the one spreading them in her print media. Anyway, let me know what you find.
Please insert token.
Hello. You've reached the Lost Property Office. There's nobody available to take your call at the moment. For any inquiries, visit Gemma Hughes in room 103 on floor 1. Alternatively, if you know which locker your possessions are in, please bring the relevant access card. Thank you.
No floppy disks detected.
Mr. Miller, your meeting is in 10 minutes. Don't be late.
No floppy disks detected.
Hi, Mr. Miller.
You all right, Mr. Miller?
Oh, hi. Just remember you have a meeting later with Carla. And don't wander around the staff-only areas, okay?
Hey, all right. How you doing?
Mr. Miller, quick reminder. You have a meeting in 5 minutes.
All I care about are the events leading up to the night of the attack. Now, I have to ask. You said that your husband and Charles Bowman drafted the act. How was Michael involved in this? Take your time.
As far as I knew, Michael was the one dealing with interviewing the immigrants. He usually did most of that, but apparently the workload was getting bigger, so I guess Bowman stepped in to help.
How is it that you didn't know about it? Didn't your own husband tell you about it?
It's not exactly big news, at the time anyway. People don't discuss every little detail in their day, do they?
Are you saying the police reports are wrong?
I'm saying that security in that place is tight. It wouldn't be easy for someone to be in there undetected.
Mrs. Carson, if you have some information that might aid in this investigation, then you need to tell me now. Otherwise, I'm well within my rights to have you arrested for withholding.
I'm saying the facility is precious about its information protection. Every call or movement, every interview or meeting are recorded for security purposes. The information we both want is in there somewhere. We just need to find the taped evidence.
Where do you suggest I look?
Hello, Mr. Miller. Please, come in and take a seat. So, I gather you've got some questions you'd like to ask me. I'll do my best to answer them. Shall we begin? A vendetta against him? Well, that was blunt, but honestly, I'm not surprised. I wondered if you'd bring this up. It's rather troubling, but Alex and I never seemed to get on. And on the night of the attack, he threatened me. I didn't want to make this publicly personal, but it looks like he has anyway. Yes, he left me a voice message. He was very angry about something, and he took it out on me that night. I have no doubts in my mind that that man is guilty of everything they say he did. And I'm frankly amazed that anyone would stand up for him. No offence. I don't find anything about this to be fair, Mr. Miller. I'm sorry, I know it's just an expression, but I take being victimised very seriously. The damage that Alex Dubois did to this company still lives on today. I hope that at least some of this is useful for your book. I really do. He thinks I'm lying. That's not really news, Mr. Miller. I think anyone in the country could have told you what Alex thinks about what we do here. He has a twisted view of things. Out of curiosity, what is it he thinks is so bad about the act? Well, this is getting far-fetched, and I suppose I'm the one lying to the country. Don't answer that. I'm sorry, but I have to deal with this kind of accusation day in and day out. I guess it's an occupational necessity. No, and I don't suppose you will. The Union Act is a force for good, Mr. Miller, a force for peace and also ownership of our country. Is it going to please everybody? No, but in all honesty, what could? The protesters out there are chasing an impossible dream, and they're lining up in droves to blame everyone else for its shortcomings. But let me ask you this. You've been here all morning. Do you think we're the bad guys? Exactly. And I can't think of anything that would. Listening to Alex talk must have been convincing, I'm sure, but when you're confronted with the overwhelming evidence here at the facility, well, I'm just glad you get to see things firsthand. Look, when you're dealing with a group, you have to represent them as a whole. There may be some shining examples of success out there, but it would be a lie for us to misrepresent all the ones causing the bigger problems. I shouldn't have asked you. It was unfair. You clearly don't understand the inner workings of what we do here. And that's admirable. I understand you have a job to do. Just make sure it doesn't interfere with ours, and I'm sure you'll do just fine. He says he wasn't in the building. Well, I don't know how he'd be able to back up that claim. The police found him not too far away from here, that's true, but it was within walking distance. He could have easily got where he did in time. And there's a whole bunch of other evidence. I'm sorry, I just don't see how he thinks that's going to hold any weight. Like who? No, I don't think so. I think it's quite cut and dry. I can't imagine someone else over in the Meta Centre doing it. They like to sound like they know what they're doing, but most of them are incompetent. I know for a fact that some of them use their room number for their alarm code, for God's sake. Does that sound convincing to you? Alex was the only one who really knew what he was doing, and anyway, it's like I said, there was more evidence, wasn't there? Well, for example, the argument we had the night of the attack. Alex and I were having a heated discussion that night. I know that's somewhat anecdotal, but to me it's as good as gold in terms of evidence. Wouldn't you agree? That must be a mistake, surely. I was sure... Maybe now that I think about it... I mean, that could have been earlier, perhaps. So, he was calling from outside the facility. It's hard to remember that night clearly now, but there it is. Does it really? I mean, it just shows that he could have just... I don't know. Well, I don't know where you got those phone records, Mr. Miller, but I'm not sure how they can help. I don't think I've anything else to add on that point. Nothing comes to mind. Excuse me, what? I didn't say anything about an alarm code. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I must have misspoken. Everyone in the Meta Centre is very careful with their security. I wouldn't... well, let's not dwell on that. No, it was another office. Can we please move on to a different subject, Mr. Miller? Don't you have something about my work that you'd like to ask at all? OK, Mr. Miller, that's all I've got time for, I'm afraid. Can you please see yourself out? Hi, I'm home.
Because we don't want our hands tied by the law every time we have to make a decision. But we won't be long. Just remember one. The world is changing around us. I agree. I have no idea why you're still wearing the same clothes you were wearing in the 70s. I'm not going to change your mind on this, am I?
Molly, you'd better be in bed when I get up there.
Coop, will you talk some sense into your husband, please?
Oh, I'm staying out of this one.
Right, on that note, I'll see myself out.
You and Carol still here for Sunday dinner?
Don't forget to pass that folder on to Sarah in the morning, okay?
Wouldn't miss it.
Thank you for being so respectful of the rules in our facility. You wouldn't believe the amount of people we have to tell to leave staff-only areas. Your next meeting is with Chance Crow very soon. Feel free to take a wander around in our gardens. I'll be waiting for you over in the Meta Center when you're ready to begin.
Right. I know most people couldn't be here today as it's the weekend, but I just want to thank everybody who was able to make it in. I guess I should start by saying that we will not be intimidated, that we will not stand without a fight. The people who stand against us, they don't want change. In fact, they fear it, and they won't stop until we fear it too. I'd also have to say that...
Oh, not this again.
Yeah, sorry. I have a letter here from Mrs. Foster. Many of you may have known her son, who was sadly lost in the attack. She writes, My son was many things to me, and to those who knew him best. A loving brother, a good friend, and someone to make you laugh when times were at their hardest. I do not know all of you the way my beloved son did, but I like to think that all the things I saw in him, you also saw on a daily basis. Aaron wasn't the only person to be taken in that blast, but he is the only one I could talk about with any certainty. And that is to say this. He died knowing that every one of his colleagues will not let his death have been in vain. That the family he raised will not live in a world devoid of the presence of his actions. That his deeds whilst alive will live on through all of us in his death, and that we would not falter to do justice to his memory, to the memories of all the families affected in this terrible time. I do not know all of you the way my beloved son did, but I think fondly of you all, and I cherish the kindness you've shown our family in our time of need. Kindest regards, Jennifer Foster. Now, if we could all bow our heads, we'll observe a moment of silence.
That photo was taken the day before it all happened. How fragile a life can be. It can all shatter in an instant. The server room that held all the information, destroyed. If only it had been that easy. Dust was caked to every surface. It was hard to see anything. There were no obvious paths to take me to where Michael had been found. What was Michael even doing in there? He shouldn't have been. He should have come home from work, put Molly to sleep, and we should have been eating a curry on the sofa with a glass of wine, for God's sake. I couldn't understand it at the time. How had it come to this? We were talking about the future. Seems so stupid now, doesn't it? There's no way I could have known. This would hopefully help me find my way a little better. Lives lost. James, he was round for dinner with Amy just 2 days before all this happened. 100 sandwich fun in the basement. And
cry out for help as Michael would pretend to be a tiger stalking. Entire floors torn into one another. Alone. The room they said Michael was found in. Did I cause this?
Magnetic data found.
Lives ruined. Torn. They woke up that morning, went to work and never returned. Michael's towels still sat on the floor where he left it. I can't bear to give up. He should be the one doing it. I always told him to clean up after himself, but he never listened.
Magnetic data found.
Theirs were blown out. I pushed and clawed my way through. I had to see it. I had to see where he... climbed. A nail, it tore my jumper. Can you believe it? My husband was found in the room next door, and for a split second I actually paused to care about a torn jumper. Trapped. No exit. And they said all the metal was burning hot. Did he suffer? That's the not knowing, isn't it? That's what really haunts you. The silhouette server. Somehow it had survived the blast. The irony of it wasn't lost on me. That was Michael's lunchbox. What was it doing there? It was just out of reach. was lodged in the pneumatic system. I thought about Michael in his last moments, struggling to get to it. He knew that was the key to prevent the overheating. He had no hope of reaching the fuse box. Pulling the cartridge out took me back to that night. The deep thud. The loss of power. Loss of hope. Burying Michael twice was almost too much to bear.